So a fair while ago, we got the first trailer for the upcoming Lion King prequel, The Lion King Mufasa, which is going to tell the origin story of Mufasa, Scar, and Sarabi, as well as seemingly show us the founding of the Pride Lands and the beginning of the schism between the brothers, who in this retelling are foster brothers. One of the big changes of that actually has Taka, aka Scar, as the royal prince, and Mufasa as the pauper, which at first painted Mufasa as a potential usurper, which I found to be rather strange, although later details and trailers laid that to rest. Regardless, I've been back and forth on the idea of this movie from the get-go. On one hand, I do love some Lion King, and this is a fresh story they're trying to tell. In this era of Disney remakes, it's nice when they deliver up something new or reinvent their existing IP at the very least. This is a story that has a lot of potential, as the backstory of Mufasa and Scar has always been rather mysterious in how these brothers' relationship simply died on the vine. It's never been explained to us in detail. I think they made some old books in the 90s, but those are a niche within a niche. No chance the majority of people have ever come close to reading them. So this gives the creators free rein to do anything they choose, which I'm pretty excited for. On the other hand though, let's not mince words, the first film was pretty bad, all things considered. The animation was very good in terms of that hyper-realistic quality, but the world they crafted at the same time felt devoid of emotion, life, and colour. By going in the realistic direction, there wasn't that much emotion on the faces of the animals, which in turn impacted the emotional response of the audience. The colours were more muted and less bombastic, which reduced the magical and fantastical feel the OG had, and on top of that, there was some pretty crappy voice acting. That being said though, it made the big bucks. It ended up grossing $1.6 billion at the box office, a huge number. And until the release of Inside Out 2 earlier this year, it was the highest grossing animated film ever, and still remains the highest grossing musical film of all time. My god, having taken a look at that list, wall-to-wall Disney. So you might think, why am I pointing out that it was a massive financial success? Because even though it was a massively derivative film that didn't try to blaze its own trail and got shat on by critics and audiences alike, it didn't stop it becoming a huge success. And so I do fear that they'll be emboldened by this, that they don't have to listen to feedback all that much, as ultimately, audiences will see the title of Lion King and turn up to buy a ticket and watch the film regardless of whatever slop is served up. In all honesty, I'd be shocked if this film doesn't at least get to $1 billion. I doubt it comes close to challenging for the title of highest grossing, but it will cross the billion for sure. Watch it bomb after this, making me look like a massive idiot. But yes, we got the latest trailer just the other day, which this time shows a whole heap more of the story and the characters. Previously, it was a lot of environmental shots, and we had to figure things out. We knew that Taka saved Mufasa as a lost cub, and they'd later on be attacked by that pride of white lions and go on their own journey. But beyond that, not really all that much was known. We had to infer and piece things together. Here, suddenly it all becomes a lot clearer. Okay, so here we go. Let's go through the latest trailer and see what we can find. So we start off with a very Timon and Pumbaa intro, where they're walking past the title screen and they notice the camera and approach it. They speak, but it doesn't really look like their mouths are moving, does it? And the faces are very devoid of any expression whatsoever, especially Pumbaa. I'm not saying it would be easy to animate a photorealistic warthog that has an emotive face, but yeah. Also, I still can't get past the voice change, especially for Seth Rogen. It really takes me out of the movie whenever this dude speaks at all. Perhaps he's got too much of an iconic voice, but it's not in the same way as the late James Earl Jones, who slipped into different roles like Darth Vader and Mufasa with ease. I can't explain it, but his voice is just, meh. We then get a little bit of a recap of the stuff we've seen in some of the various different teasers and trailers. We have Rafiki sit down with Kiara and tell her a story about Scar, with Timon and Pumbaa tagging along to hear it. So I'm guessing Kiara and her dad are going to have some sort of argument where he's trying to keep her safe due to his trauma of all the stuff with Scar, and it comes across to her as being massively overprotective. This leads to Rafiki deciding that she needs to know the truth of everything. Either that or he just likes telling stories and she's a captive audience being a little cub. I do have to say though, even though that first shot with the walk past the camera gag had Timon and Pumbaa not looking great in terms of proper expression, it doesn't seem to be as much of a problem for the shots we're actually seeing from within the movie itself. There seems to have been better animation given to the actual movie, which in hindsight makes a lot of sense. I was probably being a little too harsh based on the animation we first saw here. Here though, you can see that the faces are emoting, which is a very good thing, because that's where you derive so much of that emotional response, through the movement of the face. When the mouths are moving but there's no expression, it becomes somewhat uncanny and also visually bland. That's not what you want. It's especially important when the voice acting is not that good, which I'm worried some of it will be poor. It was the first time around. There were some standouts, but there was also some very lifeless performances. I guess voice acting really is an acquired skill, even for professional actors. So like I said, we got that recap of Scar and Mufasa's origin. that Taka was the prince and Mufasa was an orphan. They consider themselves brothers, and they're chased away from their home by the White Lion Pride, whose leader wants to be the one and only Lion King, likely killing Taka's dad and intending to kill both of them too. We have some landscape shots, and it does look like this film will also address another one of the key critiques of the first movie, that it was visually bland. It had less colour. Here, we're seeing a lot of different landscapes and environments, all filled with heaps of colour. There was one shot in particular I really liked, with a little lion cub leading the adult lions down to a river through a meadow of purple flowers and lush grass. Hell yeah! This is the storybook world you want to see. Hyperrealism can kiss my ass completely and utterly. I don't want dry and dusty savannah. Give me colours! Give me variety! Also, I reckon that shot specifically is going to be Taka taking his parents down to the river that he finds Mufasa in, which we saw in an earlier trailer. I mean, I suppose it could be Kiara, Simba, and Nala as well, but I think I'm right. I doubt Simba and Nala are going to be in much of the film at all, to be honest. It just doesn't seem likely that you want to spend that much time with a storyline that is not going to impact the plot. You want that brief Kiara intro, and then to get straight into the story so there's minimal narrative bloat. We then get some fresh scenes. We see the moment that Mufasa and Taka meet Sarabi, who has apparently been following them for some time in order to try to find her pride. So I'm guessing that her pride was also attacked by the White Lions too? Makes sense. Taka seems pretty keen on her from the get-go, inviting her to come with them, whilst Mufasa is a little bit more distant. Tale as old as time. I really hope that the whole film doesn't just take Taka down the simp, nice guy, to incel pathway. I feel like that would be a bit lazy. Give him some more motivation than just being a bit jealous. Especially since he seems to be shown as a goofy and friendly sort of lion here, not at all close to what he'd become, so I really hope they show the tragedy of his fall, but give him some legit reasons to be pissed at the same time. Although I do note that even though Mufasa isn't usurping Taka's actual kingdom, he does say that they're going somewhere where Taka can start a new kingdom himself. So I guess it could show that Taka is still getting shortchanged here. Some moral nuance and complexity would be nice. Also, I found it interesting they introduced Zazu as a friend of Sarabi. Do they ever actually speak or interact in the original film or the remake at all? I think she mentions his name when she says that Simba has to take him with him and Nala when they go off to the watering hole, but that's about it, isn't it? Oh well. Anyway, dude has really come up in the world. He goes from scout to a random lion to a majordomo of a king. Not a bad career progression for our little hornbill friend. He makes it against the odds. We then get some more establishing shots just to show off how beautiful the movie is, when they meet the younger Rafiki, who it seems that Taka is going to attempt to eat. Mufasa manages to convince him otherwise, as it seems our group has gotten lost and has no idea what to do next. So I'm guessing it's going to be Mufasa who really bonds with this guy. I think I'm sensing a theme here. All the characters we're meeting really start to like Mufasa. He seems to be a natural leader. And so by the end of the story, he's going to be proclaimed king of the Pride Lands, not because of birthright or bloodline, but by consensus, which makes him more of a true king than Scar could ever be. Perhaps we see that materialize as we go through the film. Scar starts to realize that everybody's looking to Mufasa to lead them, rather than him. Plus, Sarabi's going to likely start vibing with Mufasa, considering she does become his queen. And we know that Taka's also kind of keen on her. Lots of drama to be had. Also, I really think that Rafiki is going to end up being the breakout character of this whole movie. Seriously, he has by far the best voice in the trailer, and the most personality in his animation. I just think he's going to be so much fun. From here, it seems to largely recap the idea of the white lions coming after them to cement this idea that there's only one Lion King. We also see the lions get surrounded by a herd of elephants, which leads Sarabi to knock down a beehive to give them a chance to escape, so it looks like it's going to be a very action-packed movie with a lot of danger. And hopefully, not too much talking, because I'm finding more and more that I do not like the voice acting from either Mufasa or Taka, which is a bit of a shame. I think Zazu and Rafiki are good, but our leads not as much. A bit expressionless and stilted from Mufasa in his more quiet scenes. Whilst Taka, I just don't find him to be a good fit. I don't see how this guy becomes the Scar we see in the proper Lion King movie. Maybe in the OG animated version where Scar was goofy and theatrical, I could easily see it, but not in the live action verse. Here we come back to the idea of Mufasa becoming king by consensus, as he seemingly rallies not only just lions, but all animals to fight against the White Lion Pride, and then fights the king one-on-one. So you'd think that he'll eventually score the victory, the animals will all proclaim him king, and Scar will sulk. Beyond that, just a couple of quick shots to keep showing off the beauty of this movie, and this was actually a pretty decent trailer overall, I think. It showed off the movie's gorgeous visuals, as well as the improved animations in terms of expression. It explained the plot, but it doesn't spoil it either. And it gives us the greatest hits by showing off all the nostalgia characters that would draw people to buy a ticket. Hell yeah! I'm actually hyped for this, crazy as it is to say. I think it has a good chance of being genuinely good. But before we finish, I would like to say that these have all been my opinions, and I'd like to hear yours. What do you think of the Mufasa trailer? Do you like it? Hate it? Are you excited for the film? Maybe not? I'm curious for your thoughts, so make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know.